am really missing the 2020-21 season. Me being a West Ham fan, so many good memories were formed in that season alone. And it's been the best season since West Ham moved to the London Stadium. I have to say, when I even talk about last season, I just get really, really happy thinking about it. So many good memories, so many positive performances. But what I wanted to know, and what I asked the fans on social media, is the following. What was the best performance of the season and why? And I got some good answers. For this edition of Over to You, I asked the fans what was West Ham's best performance of the 2020-21 season and why. Got similar answers with this, some answers slightly different with good points nonetheless, and other people who explained why in quite some detail. So for those who commented on the posts, thank you. I couldn't get around to every single comment because the video would go on forever, and as is the case with these, I go for some of the most popular comments and then react to them. And I'll get onto that right now, starting with this one about the Villa game. 3-1 away to Villa. Moyes set out a team to negate Grealish and still be attacking, and the players executed it brilliantly. Sofal rightly gets the plaudits for the way he looked after Grealish, but Fredericks deserves a lot of praise too. Yeah, very well summed up. I remember watching that game in the basement of my house, and I didn't want that to end. That was one game that I just saw more and more shining through as the minutes went on. We negated Grealish properly. Sofal pocketed Jack Grealish, a.k.a. the Brummy Tom Daly, according to West Ham clips. Sofal did a good job in that game, and that was because Fredericks went as a wing-back stroke winger. And I have said it in videos before, but there's the interdependence in the team. And this was an example of it because what happened was Fredericks would attack and allow Sofal just to defend solely. So Fredericks had a really good game in that. And also Jesse Lingard had the brace on his debut. Saïd Benrahma had a good game. Souček scored as well. And I absolutely loved that performance. Really, really good game. Really technical from our midfield too. Leicester away. They had a 100% record up to that game and we took them apart. Absolutely. We ran riot. I had to get up at 5:30 in the morning to watch that game, and I was nervous because of how Leicester were playing and the fact that they'd beaten Man City 5-2 the previous week. But as you say, rightly so, we did tear them apart. Good organisation, teamwork, everybody knew what to do in that game, and Sofal made an immediate impact on his debut for West Ham. Fornals had a really good game, grabbing himself a goal. I think Declan Rice was solid in that game as well. And I think a lot of organisation and good teamwork was down to that win. Not least as well because David Moyes was sick and his coaching staff took over in his place. And they did a good job as well of setting up the team and getting that result. A few of these comments obviously said about the game against Tottenham away, being 3-0 down and then drawing 3-3 because of a crazy final 10 minutes. All these were quite similar in theory, so I'll give my own views. I was actually right over there, watching it on that TV, going crazy when Lanzini smashed that goal in. Absolute chaos in my household when he smashed that in. It had a 2% chance of even going in according to a statistical website. So that's one thing. But also, it's the fact that West Ham, having been 3-0 down, fought back in the last 10 minutes and got a point out of it. Unreal. And I think that was a big turning point in the season because it gave the players a lot of confidence and it instilled fight in the team. We started to see that fighting spirit in the team, particularly in that game. I know people are going to say, oh, but you had to go 3-0 down to end up pulling it back. That's not really the point. It's the fact that the team wasn't going to say die. And that never say die attitude shone through. It's the best game in terms of a comeback, and I don't think I may ever see anything like that again in my life. Not at least winning it with virtually the last kick of the game, or should I say, drawing it with the last kick of the game, I should say. But I just wish the fans were there. Can you imagine if the fans had been at Tottenham Stadium, whatever it's called, and seeing that go in? The whole place would have been roaring. Roaring with loads of Cockneys absolutely silencing Spurs fans. The particular highlight from the fan reactions was "We Are Tottenham TV." Those two are a living meme, particularly after this game. How they were saying, "Oh, we're 3-0 up after 15 minutes to Lanzini." Oh no! Like that. That lives rent-free inside my head. Their reaction and fan reactions to that from Spurs. But what a game and what a day. Palace away. Could have easily scored 12. Yeah, could have been a lot more than just 3-2. I think, was it as soon after Souček made it 2-1? Antonio got through on goal and hit the post. Then Fornal's effort was scrambled. We could have easily won that 5-2. Very good performance. And Saïd Benrahma absolutely bossed it on that day. Absolutely getting through Palace's midfield and defence all the time with his feet and footwork. Souček getting 2 goals in that game as well was really good because he scored with his head and his foot. Yeah, that was actually my second favourite away performance of the season at the time. Villa was good. That was actually just as good. I think Palace away was a really, really dominant performance against a team that we've struggled against when we've played them at Selhurst Park. Because we've either bottled it there or we've lost after leading. This occasion, we went 1-0 down and then came and fought back to win 3-2. Good game. Yeah. Could have easily scored a lot more. We had some really good moments in games we didn't win. First half against United at home, just needed a second. Same with Arsenal going 3-0 up. Should have beaten City in at least one of those games, but overall the Leicester away game was brilliant. I've already touched on the Leicester away game, so I'm going to get into the rest of that comment. I think some of those games will be lost, but notably the United game and the Arsenal game, as mentioned there. I think it was a case of doing too much too soon and then not knowing what to do when the other team scored. It was like a case of not having a backup plan in case the unexpected happened. I say unexpected, but was expected deep in the back of our minds. But other than that, I think what came out of it was the fact that we lost 3-1 to United and then ended up blowing a 3-0 lead against Arsenal. It was like a case of no lessons learned. As I put on my notes here, we have to learn to control games more and not be too cute with other teams. City, we played well against them at the London Stadium, and that was a really satisfying point to get against them. But away from home, although we played really well nullifying their attack, their defence shone through. But don't forget, 2 defenders scored in a 2-1 win at the Etihad. And the draw was pleasing, but I think the loss was a little bit bittersweet. But some good moments from those games, even if the result didn't go our way, and it just showed how far we'd come as a team. Villa away. We looked awesome with Lingard ripping into the Villa defence. We looked a real force that night. Yeah, totally. I was smiling all game. I absolutely enjoyed watching that game. And, you know, we dominated it. Lingard's brace was something that some of us had wanted him to have, I guess, but never really expected him to have that good of a debut for West Ham. My brother actually texted me when Jesse Lingard signed and said, yeah, it's going to be crap for you. But I was like, nah, screenshotted it and I've still got it on my phone somewhere, just to remind him. Shut him up. But thank you, Jesse Lingard, for shutting my brother up and shutting up a lot of your doubters in that first game. Because both goals he took were quite similar in theory. Both were punched off of Martinez's gloves and went into the net, and also on different sides of the field, left and right. When Villa went and scored a goal with West Ham having scored 2 already, we needed that third goal to kill it off. We killed it off. So that's why we were a real force, because we had the killer instinct. Both games against Leicester, ripped them apart both games. We ripped them apart at the King Power, and we did kind of rip them apart at the London Stadium. London Stadium game made me a bit nervous, because we had a good first half and went 2-0 up thanks to Lingard's brace. Second half, Jarrod Bowen scored to make it 3-0. We were playing against a depleted Leicester team because Maddison, Chowdhury and Sergio were out of the game because of COVID rules. So Leicester were weakened, and we took advantage of that when we played them at home. Because although we had the habit at the time of going 3-0 up and then it being 3-2 or blowing it, Maybe kind of nervous when we went 3-0 up. I'm not going to lie. Ian Atcher had a brace for Leicester in that game. But really good performance against Leicester. And I think a result like that really jeopardised Leicester's chances of getting Champions League football. Helped us, though, because we got into Europa League eventually. I don't have one game that I like the most. I actually have two. My two were Leicester away and Villa away. Yeah, the Spurs game was good, but I've chosen these two because we were playing against two sides that were really, really good at the time. Leicester had a 100% winning record, and although they had more or less a full-strength team, West Ham went up to Leicester and absolutely demolished them. Antonio, Fornals and Bowen all scored the goals in that. It was a really good performance against Leicester, and it was the sign of more to come. We pretty much played with that same level of energy and pressure and intensity throughout the season from that point onwards. The Villa game was special because Lingard scored 2 goals in his debut, and he and Benrahma started up a really good pairing. Almost immediately, those two were in on it. They were, you know, making the field more technical, passing the ball around more, and Villa couldn't keep up with us. So yeah, Leicester away and Villa away are my two favourite games of the season. Thank you very much for tuning in to Over to You. If you like the video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more content. Off the Press is coming up this week. I just need to decide on some topics for it, and I'll start recording that either tomorrow or Wednesday. Thank you very much for watching, take care, and I'll see you all soon.